Hello everybody. Welcome to today's webcast on key themes that are shaping the state of the video conferencing market. My name is Andrew Davis. I'm a partner at Wainhouse Research and very pleased to be moderating this event. Today, we're going to hear presentations from Wainhouse Research partner Ira Weinstein and Yealink's Senior Director of Strategic Accounts for North America, Greg Flick. Today's webcast is sponsored by Yealink. Yealink, a company perhaps best known for its IP phones, is a leading supplier of UC terminals for voice, video, and data collaboration, including video conferencing systems. This event is being hosted on BlueJeans Prime Time, a service that brings interactive video communications to large-scale events. Before we begin, I'd like to cover a few logistical items. First, the user interface for this system is on the right side of your screen. You can hover over each of the icons to see what it does. For technical issues, we urge you to use the moderator chat button to talk to our support people. After Ira and Greg's presentations, we will host a live Q&A session. We do urge you to ask questions during the event. To ask a question, you can use the event chat function, but please note that everyone will see what you type. You can also ask questions directly to the moderator using the moderator chat function. Primetime supports video Q&A, which means you're able to ask your questions live over video. To queue up to ask your questions over video, please use the hand icon on the right side of your screen. This will tell our moderator that you want to be seen and heard. Personally, I look forward to seeing and hearing many of you on this call. Now that the logistics are done, I'm pleased to introduce our first speaker, my partner, Ira Weinstein. Ira, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate the introduction. So today we're going to speak about a video conferencing industry update. Specifically, key themes that are driving and changing the state of this amazing space called video conferencing. The first thing we should understand is that the business world itself is changing. Right? And we've all heard that on the news, but from our perspective, we're seeing changes in technology, changes in the workforce, changes in the workplace, which are changing how we meet and what we do, and changes in expectations of our users, of our customers, of our support people, and of course a need to compete globally, which really in the past we've had to compete locally, maybe even nationally, but global competition is a new animal in the business world. So to survive, companies have to change and they have to act differently in order to survive and to thrive. Now the video conferencing industry is changing in response, and we're changing in a variety of ways. During this session here, we're going to cover 6 of these key changes or key themes. First is integration with enterprise systems. The next will be the changing form of video conferencing, primarily infrastructure. We'll talk about the new focus on scale, supporting tens of thousands of users. We'll talk about reliability, which has turned video conferencing into a business tool. We'll talk about intercompany video, which used to be a dream, today is a daily reality. And then we'll talk about new technologies and services that are empowering our users and changing the entire value proposition. Now, a lot of what you're hearing today is based on our support services we provide to customers. So this is real-world end-user information we're providing through. First of all, integration with enterprise systems. Video conferencing, not only is it not a silo anymore, it can't be a silo. Video conferencing must be a part of the overall communications ecosystem. You can't keep it separate. You must connect it to things like your telephony system, your scheduling and your calendaring system, your UC platform, and of course, as many business processes as possible. This is the only way to provide that unified experience that our users need. That's a single user interface. That's an enhanced workflow, ease of use. The reality is this is how collaboration and conferencing empowers workers and how they focus on their meeting instead of the technology. We also get reliability, scale, and cost all out of this integration. This is a key theme driving the success of organizations using video conferencing. Next, and I'm sure a lot of people on this session have seen this, the form that video conferencing is available in is changing. Okay, so first of all, endpoints. We started off with high cost, expensive, very complicated group systems in our meeting rooms. Now personal has come to bear. We've got mobile users, desktop users, completely different feel and change. Now, the other topic here is infrastructure, and that's where some of the most dramatic things are happening today. Hardware is changing over to dedicated software, over to a virtualized approach, which is much more IT friendly, right? Which gives you lower cost, ease of deployment, and flexibility. And we're also seeing changes from on-premise solutions to cloud hosted, and I love this third one here, to a hybrid model where some of the technology is on my premise, some of it's in the cloud, and I move the traffic and I move the intelligence, if you will, back and forth as necessary to give me an efficient and cost-effective deployment. Now, the shift to software has made a dramatic change in our space. Right? Primarily, we see licensing models now that give us the ability to push out on a per-user basis all these features. Software has given us faster research and development options and the ability to roll out features as they come. So instead of waiting for that big new hardware release, we might roll new features every week or every month. Now, software also expedites deployments, and one that's near and dear to me, it simplifies the ability to try a solution, evaluations, download, install, and in half an hour, you're testing what used to take months to install. That's a big change in our space, and it's empowering more value and more usage. Next, the support for large-scale deployments is a vital part of meeting the expectations of our users today. If you look here in our chart, we went from dozens of video-enabled conference rooms to hundreds of smaller rooms to thousands of users at their desktops and on their mobile device. Right? Executives used to be the only users, then it went to managers, and now it went to the rest of us. So your standard project meeting, your standard HR discussion, your standard marketing meeting is now video-enabled and video-empowered. Now, how did we do this? Lower-cost video devices, improved ease of use. And by the way, this is an important one. If it's not usable by the users, we can't scale it. We've optimized for large scale by doing things like automated provisioning. Connect the unit and it automatically provisions and connects. Monitoring and management that let you scale. And we've made it available on the platforms users want. Whether you're a Mac user, Windows user, iOS, or Android, it's available on the tools you want to use. Right? And then we've put a whole service wrap around it that allow you to outsource this and scale it without the burden of having to buy and manage the technology. Big changes, all driving big changes in how we use and the benefits we get from collaboration. Now, business tools must be reliable or nobody will depend on them. Right? You won't see usage grow without reliability, and that's just what we've seen in this industry. In August of this year, we surveyed 180 users, and 95% of them said that video conferencing is more reliable than it was 2 years ago. 95%. 92% said video is easier to use, and 87% said they're using it more often. So what have we done? We made it reliable, a reliable business tool you can depend on. We made it easier to use so you can use it yourself without support. And the result is more usage, which means more value. Performance drives value. Very straightforward. Now, intercompany video, the ability to use video to talk to not just your colleagues and your peers, but your clients, your vendors, your prospects. Use it to make money instead of save money. Well, this has come alive in the last few years. We've got more people using video. We've got more meetings conducted over video. And we have external video usage growing every single year, as shown in our chart here. 42% of calls for small organizations, that's less than 10,000 people, to put it in perspective, 42% of those calls involve at least one external site or external person, 42%. And that's up from 34% and 25% just 2 years ago. So from 25% to 42% in just 2 years. What does this mean? The world has figured out that video conferencing works for both internal and for external. Big changes driving big value proposition growth. Now, all of these things have been empowered by new technologies, and frankly, all of these changes and expectations are driving new technologies in our industry. As you can see, the new generation of workers have a new set of expectations, and they want to be mobile. They want personal. They want access and availability. And this has driven the need for scale. So what are we doing in technology? We have new codecs, which are making things more efficient, which are saving bandwidth and providing better quality than ever before. We have browser-based calling, so we can make video calls without having to install any software on our computer. We have solutions now that embrace the BYO concept. Use your device with your settings, your preferences, your contact list, and have a video meeting. And then we have these things like hybrid deployments, like I mentioned before. A hybrid deployment gives you the best of both worlds. Outsource what you want, keep internal what you want, and benefit at scale. And we also have a whole new world of services. Hosted services are becoming more important than ever before. They're providing new features, new functions at price points we've never seen in the past. Managed services allow you to outsource the entire environment without the stress and headache of video conferencing. So if you're a pharmaceutical, you can focus on being a pharmaceutical. Let somebody else deal with video. All right? We have hybrid service models where the service provider will host some of the elements for you and allow some of the elements to stay internal. And then we have automation and customization like we've never had before. So instead of using people to schedule meetings and people to launch meetings and people to monitor calls, we automate it. We drive down cost. We push up scale. And the last one I really like is this whole customization element. All right, that's the preference. I like my meeting room to be set up a certain way. Today's solutions allow me to set up my world as I prefer, so it's familiar and comfortable for me. That may be a layout on screen. That may be whether or not encryption is required. It may be whether or not people join the meeting directly or go into a lobby. But I pick it, my preference and my methodology. Those are new technologies and services and methods that are empowering this change. So let's summarize this here. The change is real. The change is happening. It's driven by social, technical, and economic factors. And if you look in terms of how the changes are happening, large rooms to small rooms, premise-based to cloud, from group to personal. Technology, we're seeing hardware to software. Dedicated apps going to browser and UC. And the last one here, the customer focus is changing. The value prop. 5, 6, 7 years ago, Andrew and I would spend a lot of time helping companies figure out their travel savings. How much do I save by using video? Today, we work with companies to maximize how much money they make by using video, how much more productivity they get, how much faster their decisions are being made. It's an entirely new way of benefiting from video conferencing, but all because of these changes. So closing thoughts from my side about these changes. When looking at change, change is scary. I know that. We work with a lot of clients who are very resistant to change. The key here is change is not about being strong enough to change or being smart enough to change. Successful change is about being adaptable to that change, embracing it, and benefiting from the change. That's what this is about. Thank you. Andrew, I'm going to hand this back to you.
Hey, Ira. Thanks for providing those insights into what's happening in the video conferencing world. I think I got to contemplate the Charles Darwin connection and whether video conferencing, maybe we need to link it to global climate change. Anyway, for those of you in the audience, just a quick reminder that we will have a Q&A at the end of Greg's presentation. I do see that a couple of questions have come in already via the chat line. But let me go just review for the audience. If you want to ask a question, you can use the event chat function, but please note that everybody will see what you type. You can also ask questions directly to the moderator using the moderator chat function. And finally, Primetime, BlueJeans Primetime, does support video Q&A, which means you're able to ask your questions live over video, voice and video connection. To queue up to ask your question over video, use the hand icon on the right side of the screen. This will tell our moderator you want to be seen and heard, and I'm sure hoping somebody out there is going to give this a try. Moving along, Q&A will be after Greg Flick's presentation, and now I'm pleased to introduce Yealink's Greg Flick. Greg, please take it away.
Thank you, Andrew. Welcome to Yealink's portion of the Wainhouse webinar on video conferencing, and we welcome you and want to bring across for you what we can do to help you bring value to your clients and to your own operations. We'll have 4 sections to our program today. First, we'll tell a little bit about Yealink. We'll talk a little bit about our perspective and positioning of the VC marketplace, why we are focusing on the SME portion of it, the small medium enterprise size of it, and what we feel are the drivers and how our solutions bring an answer to those drivers, including our one-stop video conference solution. And then we'll talk a little bit about our service and free trial program, which should be of interest to you also, because that's actually how it's going to make it easy for you to earn money and bring value to your clients. Okay, so first off, Yealink has spent about 15 years in this business, has grown to be one of the leaders in the UC terminal solution industry. We've done this by, I guess, basically two factors. First of all, we have a huge investment in engineering and R&D resources. Yealink has approximately 500 employees, with 300 of them being in engineering and R&D. So we can develop products and unique features and bring them out very quickly. And the other thing this slide brings out is the fact that we partner with other industry leaders to help bring value to you. Particularly partners like BroadSoft and Microsoft with their Skype for Business operating system, and other PBX vendors. Okay, so let's take a look at identifying the VC market opportunity as we see it. And we're not looking out 5 years into the future. Let's talk about what's happened here so far just in the last couple of years and what's going to happen by the end of 2016. And as you can see there, we show an increase in endpoint growth rate of approximately 16%, up to about $4.15 billion by the end of 2016. So that's a huge increase, and the compound annual growth rate, tracks that for the last few years and should track on into the future. So what do we bring to the picture? We bring innovation, execution, our video conferencing systems, audio conferencing systems, and our unique one-stop solution to the marketplace. This slide brings out a couple of things that I think Ira touched on earlier. Some of the things that have changed in the marketplace. The traditional objections that the particularly small and medium enterprises have been in the areas of the high cost to put a system together, large room systems, et cetera, that were just completely cost prohibitive for them. Network capacity issues. As we've improved both the LAN infrastructure and the WAN infrastructure, particularly bandwidth, et cetera, you've really opened up the opportunity to use HD video. And also, HD video technology has increased to the point where less bandwidth is needed to offer that type of high quality product. So let's take a look then to the left and say that, if you look at the marketplace, probably 60% plus of the large enterprise business has been penetrated by video conferencing, particularly in areas like healthcare and education and government. But yet less than 20% has been penetrated in the small business sector. So that's going to be a major growth driver. The number of endpoints that are going to be installed over the next year to 5 years in the small end of the enterprise market is going to be tremendous, and that's where we'll get into the growth that we talked about earlier. So what factors help bring to this? Well, you've got a situation where the cost of installing VCS systems is reduced by using hosted solutions, for example, or managed solutions, and also the focus on small end solutions such as Yealinks, which are meant for small conference rooms for small businesses, and the ability to add mobile software for those mobile users on their iPads and iPhones, et cetera. In addition, network conditions have improved, as I mentioned. Higher bandwidth capacity, even in small to mid-sized enterprises, is now commonplace, where they used to put in maybe a T1 or a DSL line. Now they're putting in 10 meg pipes, 20 meg pipes to support their operations. And of course, they've also increased their capacity on their LAN infrastructures and their wireless infrastructure as well. So we see that we see that all as being drivers for that growth potential, in addition to the fact that many small businesses are also opening up other operations, other branch offices, et cetera. So let's take a look at how Yealink Solutions hit some of these VC drivers. So as Andrew mentioned, we've got a total solution for all business scenarios, and he mentioned both hosted, premise-based, and hybrid. And Yealink VCS systems hit all those marks. Also, we're able to offer a consistent and reliable, solid performance. In Ira's slides, he mentioned that 92 to 95% of all users believe that reliability is better, performance is better, and part of the reason is is due to the fact that we've developed systems that play to that, makes it easy to use. So he also mentioned collaboration with flexibility and simplicity. We have that capability through infrastructure like intelligent firewall traversal and bandwidth management, adaptation to packet loss, et cetera, that make for quality video conferences and also enable you to bring in your suppliers and end users into the conference. We also have a vital partner ecosystem, and what that does is make sure that enables our users to rest assured that no matter what other platforms may be in the mix, whether it's a BroadSoft, whether it's Microsoft Lync, whether it's Cisco telepresence, whether it's people coming in via mobile devices, whatever it is, we've done the background work to make sure that any SIP or H323 connection can work seamlessly with the video conference. So let's take a look at how we do that in our scenarios, particularly the two solution options we basically talk about. On the left, an on-premise solution, or on the right, a cloud solution. All made possible because we have installed the features and functionalities to make that on-premise solution operate seamlessly and easily and with flexibility. And on the cloud solution, we've done the background work with Zoom and BlueJeans and Starleaf, and also not depicted here, the BroadSofts, the Microsofts, the Genesys and Interactive Intelligence, the contact center system providers. All of those make for a seamless video conference, and also the ability to do it either on-prem or via the cloud or a hybrid operation. So here is a depiction of our VC400, which is the flagship, which would go at the headquarters location. It's capable of doing 4-way 1080p video conferencing, plus the content and plus one-way audio call. It can also offer 8-way 720p capabilities as well. We've got H.264 high profile to enable lower bandwidth and high def on that lower bandwidth. We've got bandwidth adaptation and adjustment. We've got packet loss up to 8% packet loss tolerance, all to make sure that headquarters is operating a quality solution, a quality video conference. In addition, what's important too is plug and play, making it very simple. The left side of this diagram talks about the intelligent firewall transversal, so that a small to medium enterprise without IT resources is able to take care of that type of situation automatically within the system without them having to worry about it. They also have a friendly universal interface. So what we provide is basically a 5-minute setup out of the box. Easy as using a smartphone, no training required, and all the capabilities internal we mentioned to give that user, that untrained user, a very simple and easy to follow experience. And here we're talking again about the telephony system and UC platforms, the partners that we've used in our ecosystem that help enable a seamless interaction and a very solid, stable video conferencing experience for your users. Here again, we've utilized all the major platform vendors for hosted solutions, for premise-based PBX solutions, contact centers, et cetera, and makes for the knowledge that no matter how someone is trying to communicate, where they're coming from, as long as it's an open standard SIP or H.323 connection, there should be no problem in delivering your messages via video conferencing. So we put it all in one. That's a key to both audio and video conferencing. So what we want to do is make this solution an all-in-one solution that is inexpensive, within the budget of most any small to mid-sized enterprise, and enable them to take advantage both of the video conferencing and to use elements within it, such as the audio conferencing phone that can be used just under that manner as well, saving you the need to have a separate device for your audio conferencing. The other things we've done, and we spell it out there very well, no licensing. So in other words, no licensing for your full HD, for your content, for local recording, or for software updates. All of that stuff is included in the price of the system. We support it, we stand by it, and we stand by our partners who are offering these systems. One of the ways we stand by that, we've got hardware warranty and assurance maintenance service. The hardware warranty is 1 year. Includes advanced replacement service and also includes 3 tiers of technical support and software updates. In addition, you can add years to the hardware warranty and the assured maintenance program just by adding those and paying for the additional extended warranty if you wish. What this brings to you as a partner is the ability to earn money off the assured maintenance service. And to ensure that you will be supported by Yealink and the distributor chain. So the first line and tier is a trained integrator who will be able to handle any kind of first tier and maybe even some second tier calls from their customers. In addition, distributors who are fully trained to offer up to first and second level support for their calls, for any calls. And then all have access then to Yealink research and development and support for any software issues, third tier type calls. So that three-tier model, I think gives end users the satisfaction and the peace of mind to know that their operations are supported. After all, they don't have IT resources on hand to answer these questions. They need to be able to pick up a phone and call the integrator or the reseller that works with them, and that's their first line of support. So how do you go about getting this? One of the things we want to do is help you get started and make things easier for you as a partner of Yealink. So what we offer are a VC400 demo kit case. We also offer one for the VC120. You can see at the bottom there we have two packages available. We have discounted prices for those, and we also have a free trial system. The free trial system can be used by you initially and also by you later on with your end users utilizing the equipment that you've purchased at great discount from us. Part of this includes assured maintenance for you for 1 year and the ability to then use the demo equipment for sale after a year period of time. How do you take advantage of this? Well, you call Joyce, as it says down there at the bottom on the bottom right. Contact Joyce at Yealink. She's the marketing person that will give you all the details and let you know how you can bring this system into your product line and enable it for your customers. And I think that ends our presentation. Thank you very much. And I'm going to hand it back to Andrew.
Okay. Hey, Greg. Thanks for providing good background and some detail on Yealink's approach to the video conferencing market. We're now going to shift to the Q&A part of our webinar. So let me just remind everybody to ask a question. You can use either the event chat function or the moderator chat function on the right side of your screen. And again, Primetime does support video Q&A. And if you want to ask a question over video, use the hand icon on the right side of the screen. This will tell our moderator you want to be seen and heard. So while we're waiting for somebody to raise his hand, there are several questions that have come in over the chat function. Let me start with Greg, just because it leverages your last slide, kind of a continuum. So could you just give us a focused answer on sticking with North America, which is your territory? How does Yealink support in North America its channel partners and its customers?
Yes, we have systems engineering resources that are here in the United States, primarily headquartered out of Atlanta and out of San Jose. They work out of there and travel and support people in either the western part or the eastern part of the United States. They're available on call via audio or actual on-site visit if necessary. And then in addition, we have normal trouble ticket and 800 number support from headquarters in Xiamen, China.
Okay, thank you. But I would assume most North American customers and channel partners would find communications with China to be, at least because of the 12-hour time shift, somewhat of a challenge. But it's good to hear that there's a team in the West Coast and a team in the East Coast, right here in the States.
Well, the good news is you can ask, at 1 p.m. you can call China and say I want something yesterday, and they can do it.
Well, that's always good to know. Time travel. Both of you briefly touched on easy to use in your presentations, and one of the questions that came in over the ether, if you will, is a question. Do you think it was addressed to Ira, but you could probably both address it? Does a video meeting need to be supported by staff today, or how close are we to self-service and do it yourself? Let's start with you, Ira.
Thank you. So it's a great question because we see a lot of our end user clients who are still supporting a very high percentage of their meetings that way. They're sending people to the room, they're actually dialing the call for the users, and often they're still sitting in the room or watching remotely. The answer that we give to our clients today is the vast majority of your meeting should happen automatically. It's just like a phone call. You wouldn't send somebody to someone's office to dial the phone for them. So today, we don't need to send people to every single call to support it. Now, what's important here is we need to draw the line. Executive meetings, high-profile meetings, meetings that are complex with multiple sources and different functions, we should support those meetings. Those are complicated. But day in, day out, this should be like an audio call. Let the users do it and watch the usage grow. Greg, you want to comment too?
Before you talk, Greg, I want to push back on my partner. Because you said the meetings are complicated. You're talking about the executives, if you will. I'm questioning you whether that's true. Are they complicated, or is it just that it's a high risk that something might go wrong, even though they're no more complicated than a normal video conference? Hate to use the word normal, but a non-executive.
Sure. It's a fair statement, but what we tend to see is that all-day board meeting will include sites that are connected and disconnected and different camera views, and they're presenting from different places, and often you've got people in the field. All these things here create a high-risk environment, and you need somebody to sort of moderate the event. So in those cases, you do want to send somebody there, frankly, because the users are focusing on other things, and the meeting is more like a production event. But your standard call, your project meeting, your HR call, the users can do that themselves very happily today.
Greg, did you want to weigh in on that? Meetings, whether they're supported or not?
Yeah, I think Ira is exactly correct and much of that applies more to the large enterprise world or government world, something like that. For the typical small to mid-size enterprise, you're thinking of maybe somebody that's delivering some training to 3 or 4 sites, for an hour every Monday. Someone who's maybe doing real estate closings, and they have the attorney in one side of the city and another office across town with the customers and maybe their attorney, and they're passing documents back and forth and verifying that things get signed and that all the information's delivered. So those types of things, they're not real high risk. They can always drop back to audio calls if they absolutely had to, but those are easy to set up. Just dial it, set it up, and run.
We have another question that came in through the chat function, which I'm guessing for Yealink is a question you hear quite often. And the question is, can users of other technologies, such as products such as Skype, Microsoft Skype, or video conferencing systems from Cisco or Polycom or Lifesize or Avaya or whatnot, the question is, how do they communicate, and how would they get into a meeting that's been set up on a Yealink video conference?
Well, first of all, it's standard SIP and H323 protocol. We adhere to the standards. All those companies you mentioned adhere to standards, and therefore that makes it seamless. In addition, of course, if you're mobile, you would just download the software into your system. My laptop, for example, has Yealink software, Polycom software, BlueJeans software, et cetera, on it, because I've done various video conferences at one time or another for those that included those.
Mm-hmm. Specifically, how would you address Skype for Business Link? Is there any interoperability service there?
Well, if you're not certified Skype, then you need a gateway provided, which is done. But keep in mind, our audio phones, we have 2 or 3 already certified on Skype for Business. The entire audio line of our T4 products is in that process now, and we're also doing that with our video conferencing system. So at some time, probably here in early 2016, we hope to have those certifications completed and out there. So. Okay.
Thank you. We have one last question. It's addressed to Ira, but you may both, given Yealink's presence in the big UC marketplace, you may have a comment to make as well. But Ira, the question is, you mentioned in your presentation on-prem and cloud-hosted as video conferencing options, and the question is, could you briefly say what you think the considerations are that customers should think about when planning an infrastructure deployment? Cloud, cloud versus on-prem? Pluses and minuses, if you will.
Great question. I think the first thing to think about is how much of the burden of the control of the day-to-day management of the technology do you want to own, right? Are there reasons why you would own it? For example, security concerns. For example, you have support people and you really want to manage every meeting. Like I said before, that's an exception, but maybe. You need to think about your company's preference there first. Right? We see a lot of companies that simply state, we keep this on-premise because that's how it's been and we're going to stay that way, or that's our culture. Okay. The next thing to think about is, where do you want your bandwidth to be used? If you have your technology on-prem, meaning behind your firewall, your video calls stay behind the firewall and you're not using as much internet bandwidth. Right? For other clients, that's not a problem and they're happy to put it outside on the internet and use that bandwidth. But I think it's important to understand that companies should look into the outsourcing option because, quite frankly, it takes a lot of stress away. It's not just cost. Everybody talks about get rid of CapEx and spend OpEx model. It's more a matter of you focus on your users, the value the collaboration brings, making sure you support them well. Let somebody else deal with the plumbing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of servers. It's a lot of cooling, a lot of heating. You don't necessarily need that. So our view is we always ask clients to think about outsourcing. And if they can't, that's fine. The technology's here to do it internally.
Mm-hmm. And
Greg, you mentioned...
in the case of...
Go ahead. You mentioned that Yealink has a service and so forth. So what's your take here?
Well, kind of to tag on to what Ira said, basically we're offering a premise-based system that's easy to use. It isn't costly. Most anyone can handle the user interface on it and get a good experience. But by the same token, if you do feel that it might be a little bit much for you, as far as the maintenance of the system and things like that, then use our channel partners, our integrators, our resellers in a managed service environment where they come in and make sure things are updated, software updates are taken care of and all that. But for the day-to-day operation of your video conferences, you're handling it right there behind your firewall in your own offices.
Okay. Well, I have to say there are no more questions, and I'll ask the moderator. I want to thank everybody for coming, and I hope you learned something today, and we look forward to continuous interactions with you out there in the audience. Thank you, and moderator, you can wind this down.
Thank you.